Hello there, in this video I got you 10 tips and tricks for winning in curse mode in Super Fantasy Kingdom. This is all stuff that is meant to help you out in getting your foot into the door on this difficulty level and understanding what you need to do differently from this point on out. Because there's quite a lot of differences, but once you understand the ins and outs, it's actually not that hard, but it's more fun. So, let's get started with number 1. When you start on curse mode, you will be pestered repeatedly by boss attacks. So basically, what you had on these locations initially is now a recurring event, with a nasty little caveat that the guy will murder your fortress instead of just going away when he's touching your peeps. So, for that, you need a front line. I really recommend to get yourself somebody for tanking's sake in front of your party as quick as possible. When you're playing humans, this is pretty easy, as you can always rely on the paladins, because these are really cheap to recruit. For the undead, things are a little bit different, but you get the idea. Which brings me to number 2. Another thing that is really important, single target damage. Since you will be attacked constantly by a boss that is need to be brought down before he starts slashing through your entire party, you will need to have a good source of damage. Obviously, we don't need only single target damage, but AoE as well, but compared to the regular difficulty level, people that do a lot of damage to a singular target have been upgraded massively in this game mode. For that regard, I really find that the crossbowman is one of the best units that the humans can muster on that end, because it's a simply accessible unit. He shoots a lot of times, and most of the time, if you combine it with a little bit of frontlining, you get things done. But the point here stands, you need somebody who's able to do a good amount of damage to a singular target. However you want to do it is up to you, but you need to get that done, otherwise you'll experience a wipe quite quickly. So number 3, to get yourself winning constantly and quite easily, a couple of things are really quite obvious. Pump up the damage of your units. This is really something that I realized is way more powerful than I thought it'd be. If you just smack the damage items of the regarding class on the unit that you want to focus on in a run, you have already a very, very potent source of damage. Not all units are created equal on that end, though. A couple of them are overperformers, a couple of them are a little bit less impressive, but with the proper gear, they all turn into quite something. So if you are not too creative and you don't want to run pesca around with all these things, just increase their damage and you're pretty golden. For the front line, try to increase their defenses, and the same applies. You don't need to go for fancy, complicated builds. Brute force at that end gets you pretty far. So number 4, passive income. This is something that's really, really important the deeper you go into the difficulty levels. Everything that generates money for you without you having to spend workers on it is really, really desirable. These things come in very, very many different flavors. Small buildings that generate constant income, these camps that you can conquer also fall into that category. There's many different things. Even relics can go for that. There's hero gear that does that. But it all comes down to the point where I gotta say, it is very, very powerful to just have a surplus of coin, faith, and any other resource that just flows towards your city without you having to spend workers. Because workers remain a scarce resource. You will have to plan them and work around them, and everything that just comes on that end is desirable, and therefore rush these things. I try to start always with a decoration, and nowadays I try to get the second decoration down as quick as I can as well, because it's one of the best ways to spend your grain early on alongside with stables. So number 5, bread and other replenishable food resources. The undead have a pumpkin candy economy, we have bread on the humans, and this is something up until week 2. try to get that going. Try to get yourself a farm with the upgrades and the bakery and the windmill. 2 bakers can supply an entire army. If you want to have bonus points, try to get yourself the nuns upgrade also onto the bakery, which speeds up the production speed, which brings you a little bit more from your singular baker. But the point here is pretty simple. Unit XP is one of the most powerful things in the game, and food is one of the easiest ways to get there. Bread is that stuff which you can produce en masse. If you have the luck to go for the green and to grab yourself a greenhouse as well, you don't even need to spend extra money on the grower anymore. It's pretty big. On that end, while we're talking about unit XP, I also want to point out that this building here is insanely potent. It sells level ups, it becomes more and more costly the more often you do it, but it is a really powerful thing to boost up your units, and I end spending a lot of coin here, and I haven't regretted it a single time, because when you have several high-level units, you can also make these dungeons happen quite easy. There's a lot of benefit, not only battle stats. So, number 6, formation. So here's something that I really realized the longer I played in curse mode. A long stretched formation that has only one tank in front of it will get attacked on the flanks. Make sure that you don't have mana spenders on the edge of your formation. People that spend mana can cast if their mana is partially depleted. As you see there, they can only attack while the mana is full, and to make things worse, they even die if the mana is depleted. Therefore, avoid the corner points with people that have mana. It's really something where I outplayed myself quite numerous times in the past. Apart from that, once you have 3 tanks in front, most of the time, anything attacking your formation will stick to the tanks. Otherwise, as you see here, this guy's breaching through to the B. But as long as you have a couple of healing and sustaining and walls are really big on that end, everything is okay. But mind that formation, be careful who you put where. It really matters a lot more than in the previous game mode, where you were pretty much good with just winging it. Okay, number 7, the Demolisher. The little guy here is really something else. You can get yourself quite a lot of bonuses from that one. If you demolish a building, you reset the counter inside. Demolish stables, rebuild stables, get more carriers. You don't lose the benefits from a building if you demolish it. That means if you put up stables, demolish them, you keep the carriers. If you put up another building that gives you a benefit, you demolish it, you keep the benefit. There's always a interaction like that. Really can recommend using this on portals, for example. It also resets the costs there. That's really a lot to gain out of this little guy. And yeah, play around it. You can go for really nice resource efficiency spots there. Number 8, weekly offers. The map is full of these, be it those many shops where you can buy things that will help you out, or the marketplaces where you can buy everything on them if you have enough coin. Either of these, the more of these you can buy, the better you're off. Generally speaking, this is one of the reasons why I preach increasing your passive income so much, because all of these things, they really get you somewhere. Obviously, don't buy crap that doesn't help your troops at all, you know. If there's nothing around that you need, then just don't and wait for a week. Here, for example, this is something where I feel like I don't need any of these, but you get the idea. The more money you spend, the more powerful you get, and most importantly, many of these shops replenish their stocks each week, so if you don't use them weekly, you will practically waste resources. At least look there and check out if you need things. Personally, I love the trading post and the food stock market, because these really tend to help me out at the end of the day in a pinch so often. Check them out. It's really worth your time. So, number 9, quality over quantity. While it is wise to have a big army, as long as you can feed it, it's really good, it pays off to spend your resources focused onto single units. Don't try to spread. Don't invest 3 gold here, 3 gold there. No. Go for one unit after the other. Focus those stars. They're really, really worth it, because this jump between 2 stars and 3 stars is immensely big. It's really something you should go for. But the whole logic goes even deeper. When we look at the gear, people that are geared out should be receiving their stars first. It's that simple. Don't spread out your attention. It is worth focusing on that. Generally speaking, Super Fantasy Kingdom is a game that really rewards you for focused effort in general. There's this is everywhere. If you want to make something happen, don't spread your powers too thin. Focus on making it happen quickly, especially the more important it is. Which brings me to number 10. A last very, very important thing. Always focus your worker amount. It is something where you gotta be playing wisely around. I personally find, for example, that the last house here is a lie. You don't need to build that. It's just too costly, and the timber on the human end, for example, is much better spent into the arbalist. But you should definitely try to have the gold nuggets to upgrade these houses before the street worker hits there. Whatever you do, just keep in mind, the faster you upgrade the total worker amount, the faster you scale. They are basically the fuel, your propulsion. The faster that you can work on these work spots, the quicker you get ahead each day. That's just it. Always take into account, though, the more workers you got, the more logistics you will also need. So stables are a necessary evil that you can't and shouldn't neglect at that end. Eventually you need those. Here, hence the Demolisher's advantage. But yeah, this is something really, try to get yourself always workers in, and when you notice that the stretch to the next workers would be either 2 steps long or just insanely long without doing any other things, then do other things. And when you notice that the street worker is doing their goodness, try to upgrade those houses, at least 2 of them. Here again, I feel like the third house is again a little bit of a stretch. I was pretty confident with these, but the more workers you got, the more you can achieve. It's that simple. So, thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful for you. Let me know what you do to beat the curse levels repeatedly, and yeah, I'm all ears to hear back from you, and make the comment section a place that's worthwhile so all of us can enjoy this game a little bit more, because it's really awesome. So leave a like, leave a subscribe, consider donating via Ko-fi or any other given means, and of course, a lot of thanks for all the support out there, and a lot of thanks for watching this video up until the very end. Appreciate you taking that time, and see you on the next one.